Hello everyone, hello, it's Michelle here, and we've started the art relief sessions today. So in my community, had lots of people saying that they feel really blocked at the moment because of all the things that are going on in the world right now. And we got talking about how some people turn to art as a therapy when they're feeling stressed, and some people it's the opposite way round. It blocks them, and they know art is the perfect answer, but for some reason they can't get going. And so that's why I decided to set up I usually go live on a Monday, but I've decided to turn these into art relief sessions. I'm joined today with my lovely, lovely friend Daxa Parmar, who I met in Mallorca, Spain. That's where she's based. I'll hand you over in a minute and you can give a little intro. But Daxa is an amazing artist, and she specializes in what we're talking about today, using art as a releasing stress. As I'm saying it, I'm feeling more relaxed already. And making space. And so I invited Daxa today because she's been doing some amazing tutorials online, and I saw those on her Instagram profile and asked her to join us, and she very kindly obliged. So welcome, Daxa. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's lovely. It's lovely to take part, and I'm getting used to going live now. On Facebook and on Instagram, not just doing art, but also sharing recipes as well and cooking. And so I think all our lives are online for now. But yeah, thank you very much for having me and asking me along. So and welcome everyone as well. I hope you're all well today.
Yeah, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from, because there's a lot of people who were in Australia that said they'll have to watch the replay. So let us know. Some people are staying up late because they're all around the world tuning in. So let us know in the comments. Say hi. So whilst everyone's letting us know where they're tuning in from, Daxa, just tell us a little bit about what art you make and what you do over in the lovely island of Mallorca.
Okay, so I've been a professional artist for almost 20 years now. My background's in printed textile design. So I came from a commercial background. But predominantly in the last sort of 9-10 years, the majority of my artwork, nearly all my artwork, is abstract artwork. And really, I ended up creating a style of artwork to help slow me down. I was sort of reaching burnout. And I needed to change my life, otherwise I wouldn't have been around for my daughter. And I was doing my master's part-time at the same time, so it was an ideal opportunity for me to explore a new way of making art. And to cut a very long story short, I discovered the symbol zero or nothing and repetition. With being a printed textile designer, it came naturally to me anyway. And since then, I've just been using different ways of painting and drawing to represent the zero, the nothing, which to me is a breath. It's also a meditation when I draw or paint it over and over again. And to me, it's also a cycle as well. It's cyclical. And so for me, there's lots of different meanings to it. And then I adapted the way that I painted as well, using the tools that I was using before. This is one of the paintings behind me, which is sort of being created line by line. This is an oil painting, which has been created line by line with a steel tool. Everything's just here. It's amazing. I'm in my kitchen, so I moved all my things from my studio and gallery, which you've been to, Michelle, in Parmar. So you see that's how I created this piece here, which is 90 by 90 centimeters. So my oil paintings take me a very long time to create, which is fine. And I used to, before, I used to create all my paintings in one sitting. So I used to paint fast, I used to talk fast, I used to walk fast, I used to do everything fast. So I changed the way that I changed the way that I was, or maybe I just kind of met myself really. But and so since then I've been talking about slow living, slow art. There was Slow Art Day on Saturday, International Art Day, which was amazing. It was going to be live. Obviously my gallery would have been open, but everyone did some things online, virtual stuff online. So yeah, check on
changing. Yeah, but we're finding ways to adapt, you know, and still stay connected, which is great, and like part of what we're doing now. That's amazing. I love that you just, you know, use that, you know, became self-aware of that tension, and then the symbol and what that means to you, and I can see when you talk about it how calm you are, and so it's obviously a trigger as well, even when you're talking about it, which is beautiful. So
yeah, it's just become part of me, and one of my personal mottos is everything from nothing.
yeah,
Because eventually, you know, when you focus on nothing, everything comes from it. When you focus on that space and on that void, then it opens up so many possibilities. And that's one of the things, that's sort of like the theme really of today, because we'll be focusing on the in-between places and the spaces. So it's not necessary. We're going to be doing 2 exercises, hopefully, if we get through them. Something's just felt.
That one didn't want to be there.
Like in Mallorca. This is my inspiration board because I'm working on really bright colours at the moment and contrast. It's all going to come down.
Maybe the camera's shy. They're like, don't put us on camera, Daxa. Oh, yeah. Tell us what we're going to be doing today, okay, and then I'll just do a quick shout out. Lots of people all over the world, which is amazing.
Okay, super, great. Okay, so we're going to be doing 2 exercises. The first exercise is a meditation, really. It's a drawing meditation, and we're going to be drawing your breath. It's something that I found online a couple of years ago. I was really interested in it, and I tried it in various ways, and then I've sort of developed my own way, and that's what I'm going to show you today. And it's an exercise you can spend as long as you want doing it, but there's a part A to it, which is the breathing, and then there's the second part of it, which is in filling in the spaces, the in-between spaces. Okay, so we'll start that, and then you can all sort of carry on with it afterwards. The other exercise I've sort of developed just for you, actually, because you're all artists, and I know that at any time, you know, things can be really challenging for us to start creating art. And I guess there's a lot of you that are homeschooling at the moment as well, not finding the time or the energy, you know, or the mental space, you know, to be able to develop some work. And I thought it would be a really lovely idea to create something. Again, it's not about the end product, it's about the process. And so this is going to be a collage of sorts. And it's going to be something that you're not planning in any way. You're not thinking about the aesthetic of it. And you're leaving a lot to chance, you know. And as artists, you know, some of us like to do that, don't we? And then we're going to be looking at the journey between each piece of collage that ends up on our paper.
Wonderful. That sounds amazing. How does that sound, everyone? I'm just going to do a quick hellos, and then we'll get stuck in. I bet you're all jumping at the bit to get started. We've got Barbie from Canada, Marita from Australia. Hello, Joe. Simone from the USA. Akur from India. We've got Rebecca from the UK. Patricia from Ireland. Mandy from Eastbourne. Hello in the UK. Jenny from Derby in the UK. Dee from sunny west of Ireland, lovely. Christine from Kenya, hello. Jackie from the Wirral, Katie from England, Shirley from South Africa, hello. Oh, and her sister Tracy tuning in alongside us. Well, lovely to have you here. Cornwall is Wendy. Becky is from Northampton. Laura's tuning in.
That's where I come from.
Is it? Yay!
Yeah, hello.
It's 6 a.m. where Laura is. She's got up early to tune in. Oh, lovely. Candice is 8 p.m. in Australia, Ireland, Berkshire, Hannah, Adette's from South Africa as well. Lovely to have you all here.
Wow.
Okay, so let's get stuck in. Let's make some art. Barcelona. Susanna's from Barcelona. And
just across the way.
Kristen from Hampshire. So all around the world. How lovely. I feel like Joe Wicks.
Should we do some PE? No.
I've already done that this morning.
Right, let's start. Do a long dog walk. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, Michelle, if you can let me know whether the light helps or whether it hinders, because my halo light arrived this morning. So I'm going to tilt my screen, so you're not going to see me now. You're going to see my paper here.
See if I can change the screen.
Okay, and what you're going to need is just a sheet of A5 or a sheet of A4, whichever you prefer. It doesn't really matter about the size. I'm just going to put my light on here. Well, you zooming in to me. That's amazing.
I'm trying to just show your screen, but I'm not sure how to do that.
Oh yeah, you're on something new, aren't you? Okay. All right. Is the light hindering or helping?
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Without it then. Okay, super. I felt like an optician then. Okay, let's begin. So all you need is a piece of paper, and just start off with one drawing tool, whether it's a pen or a pencil. It doesn't have to be coloured if you don't want it to be. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to put our pencils and pens down. Okay, and just put your hands on your knees or on your table. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take 3 deep breaths, because we want to let our system know that, you know, we're relaxed. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take a deep breath in all the way from the bottom of your tummy, all the way in. Feel it rising up through your chest, and then release it all the way out. And we're going to do that again. So in, all the way in from the bottom. And all the way out. And then one more time, in. And out. So hopefully you'll already feel a difference between before we started the deep breaths to now. Okay, so now we're ready. So now what I want you to do is, just for a moment, whilst you pick up your pencil, is I just want you to connect with your natural breathing. Okay, with the rhythm of your natural breathing now. Just for a moment, just close your eyes just for 10 seconds. And just feel your chest rising and your abdomen rising and falling, just to connect with that natural rhythm of your breath, because that's what we're going to be connecting to now. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to draw from the center of your paper, okay, concentric circles or concentric zeros. I'll be doing zeros because I kind of do them in my sleep. But if you want, you can draw a circle. And we're just going to give it a go about 3 or 4 times. I'm going to take you through it, and then we're going to go through it again, and then the second time you'll kind of be a bit more connected, and you'll see how your breath is actually going to be moving your hand as opposed to the other way around. So the first one, let's say, is a bit of a practice, and then the second one, we're going to be a bit more mindful and a bit more conscious of it. Okay, so let's begin. So start from the center, and the first one you're going to do is just about, about 3 centimeters, 2 or 3 centimeters. Okay, so just breathe in naturally, and then as you breathe out, draw, and then breathe in. I did it wrong. That was a good start. You're meant to breathe in first. Yeah. You breathe in and then out. So let's start again. So breathe in and then out. And breathe in.
And do we go over the same circle or just round it, or?
And then out. So what you're doing is that you can go over the same one, or you can actually go around it. Yeah. Remember, we're not worrying about what this looks like. It's the process that we're going through. Okay. So let's do that one more time. We breathe in. And then out. Now, what you might find is that your hand is actually moving before your breath, which is natural, because obviously what we do as artists is that, we're telling our brain's telling our hand to move, and then we're watching. But when we actually become a lot more mindful of our breath, what happens is that our pencil and our hand won't move until our breath is actually moving. Okay, so I just want you to be a bit more conscious of, if you find that your hand is actually moving at a different rate to your breath, then just to stop for a moment and to connect to your breath again, and then to start drawing. And if it helps, then to close your eyes as well, so that you're not moving your hand and your pencil out of sync with your breath, because remember, this is about drawing your breath. All right. And obviously, as the circle gets bigger, you're also taking in deeper breaths, which is also going to help to calm you as well. Okay, so let's start again. We'll start again from the center. Okay, so let's start with a breath in. And then out. In. Then out. If you don't complete the 0 or the circle, it doesn't matter. Do you see? Because then if you've then run out of breath, then that's fine. You're drawing your breath. That's representing your breath. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And try going in the other direction as well. If you've been going anti-clockwise, then try clockwise and see what happens. You might notice that as you are breathing out, you're not pressing as hard either. So you're creating a different tone. So my lines are just sort of fading off here. And you might want to, if you start doing a really big circle or zero, you might then want to carry it on and see what happens if you don't stop drawing. So then you do 2 breaths.
I like how on the out breath, I you know, when you're drawing the line, you kind of become more conscious about that out breath and want to keep it going a bit longer, so you end up taking longer breaths, which calms you down.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. So this is connecting with your parasympathetic system. So when we're in, because all of us are in a little bit of fight flight mode at the moment, you know, consciously or unconsciously. So this is actually sending our nervous system really lovely messages that actually, do you know what, everything's okay, we're all right, because we're focusing on the present moment, and in this present moment we're all well, and you know, we're not in any danger. So let's do one more together. I'm going to do 2 breaths in this one large big one that I've done.
Georgina's saying she keeps yawning.
Ah, super. She needs it.
If anyone's tuning in, you've already just tuned in, we're just focusing on the breath in and out, and on the out breath, drawing a circle.
On your in and your out. You're drawing your in and your out.
Oh, sorry, I'm drawing it on the out.
Well, then you found another way of doing it, which is great. Okay, so I'm just going to put this up for a moment. So this is the kind of thing that you've probably got. Something along these lines, literally lines. Oh, lovely. Super.
It's funny, isn't it, how we all do things so differently. I can't wait to see everyone's pictures. You know, it's something so simple, circles, but we will all have our own DNA, won't we? You know, we've all got our own way of doing things, and I can't wait to see everyone's pictures.
Precisely.
So please post them on Instagram so we can see them, and you
Yeah.
can I'll put the tags at the end, but you can tag United Art Space and you can tag Daxa as well. And there's an hashtag UAS Art Relief, but I'll talk more about that at the end. I don't want to interrupt.
So, you know, you'll have some sort of variation of concentric circles or zeros. You'll have some spaces in between. And then you'll have the spaces in between if you've done multiple ones as well. And if you wanted to create this as a piece of artwork for you to be able to put up later on, or even now, to even just remind you, because just putting this up somewhere where, you know, you're around, you know, you're home most of the day. If you're feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit worried, and you know you're going into the future all the time, then just looking at this actually will calm you down. Just looking at it without doing any more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the brain remembers how you felt. Yeah, exactly. What a great idea. Never thought of doing that before.
It's created that association. And doing this with your kids as well is really lovely. You know, they may not be able to sit there for as long if they're little. However, you know, and with your teenagers, it's, you know, all the things that I'm sharing with you have got nothing to do with making art as such. They don't require any art skill. They're all techniques using art to help you become more mindful, really. So you can use different colors as well, different shades, different markers. I've done this with different markers, different pens, you know, different lines. So if you wanted to, even if you wanted to explore, you know, if you've got some new tools and you want to explore, you know, the line making with them, then that's a great way of using those as well. So these could be really colourful as well. So yeah, you could choose a colour that's calming, or you could choose a colour if you want to feel a bit more energized as well. So yeah. So now what we're just going to do, just as I'm just going to introduce you to it. We'll do a little bit of it. But because it's a much longer exercise, the second part of the exercise, because you dip in and out of it, we won't complete it. In fact, there may not be an end to it, so which is nice. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here, like so. Okay, so now what I want you to do, you can either use the same pen or pencil that you're using, or you can use something different. I'm just obsessed with fuchsia pink at the moment, so I'm going to pick up my pink micron pen, which I love, and also it will help with the contrast. And what I want you to do is I want you to pick one of a space between your concentric circles. So I'm sort of drawn to this area here. So I'm going to look at this area. Oh, actually, you can see that. I'm going to pick this area here. Okay, so this gap here. And I want you to choose a shape that you like to draw, whether it's a circle, a square, heart, a rectangle. Have I covered all the shapes? A star, whatever shape you want. And what I want you to do is I want you to start filling in this gap with that shape. And you can either fill in using exactly the same size of that shape as an outline. You're doing an outline, you're not kind of colouring it in, not shading it in. You're kind of drawing an outline of it. Or you can vary it, whichever you want. So if I start, so guess what I'm going to choose? So I'm choosing the 0 there. And I feel quite drawn to varying them this time and quite close together. And whilst you're doing it, again, don't worry too much about the aesthetic. It's about your intuition saying to you, oh yeah, go big, or go small, or go here, or go there. What you are doing is that you're staying within the lines. That's the only, I feel like a primary school teacher, stay in the lines. That's the only rule as such, because what we're doing is we're focusing on this gap between your breaths, because that's what it is. And we're honouring this gap between your breaths. So I don't know what sort of shapes you're all doing. I'd love to know.
Oh yeah, let us know in the chat. I'm choosing a leaf shape because I always doodle.
Ah.
I'm doing little.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, let us know in the chat what shape you've chosen. Adet says, I know this is the same idea as meditation, but I think it's a little easier as you can see your breath. Yeah, it's a lovely.
Precisely. Absolutely. Because the thing is that, I mean, I meditate, but I find it really, really challenging to meditate as well. And I think for anybody that is new to mindfulness and wanting to reduce their anxiety and stress, I think meditation can just seem really overwhelming and daunting. So I've turned mine around, and I'm gonna begin somewhere else now, and I feel like I want some gaps between. And I think that this is an introduction to meditation, without the pressure.
It's also, when we do things like this, it's permission to play, because we often put so much pressure on the, like you said, being an outcome, you know, it has to be a polished, finished piece. We don't allow ourselves time to just play, and this is
precisely. It's during the in-between times. Think of all the times when you've thought of some of your best ideas. It's when you've not been thinking about them. So the in-between times, to me, which is the times that we're filling in now, are the most precious times. And in fact, when I'm drawing or painting my zeros, I always have to have a notebook next to me, because that's when I write my poetry as well. As all my poetry comes out whilst I'm painting or drawing, because I'm creating that space.
I think also the distracting the mind, like you say, we're focused in the present moment right now, and it's so nice.
Yeah, and that's what it is. But you'll be amazed at the things that will come up. So this
is great, isn't it, for people who are tuning in and you've been feeling blocked and you don't know where to start. This is something that you can do afterwards. You know, if you feel like you just don't know where to start, just focus on your breath, because it might clear that space in your mind to then think what to do next, or you might carry on just making the breath drawings. You just don't know where it'll take you, but it's a great starting point. Stacey's just joined. Daxa, do you want to recap just what we're doing for the people that are just joining?
Yeah, sure.
Just
see what I was getting into it.
No, just interrupt you.
I completely forgot that I'm running a session, and I just completely got into it. Okay, so for those that are joining, what we're doing today, this morning, this afternoon, whatever time it is there, we have just completed an exercise which is drawing your breath. And so all you need is a sheet of paper, maximum A4 size, no special paper, something to draw with, a pencil or a pen, just one colour to start off with. And essentially what you're doing is you are drawing your breath in and then your breath out. So you're either going to draw a circle or you're going to draw an oval shape, a zero shape. And you start from the center, and you take you're basically just following your own breath, your own natural rhythm. So for those that are joining, I'll just start you off for now. And I may say breathe in and then out, and then breathe in and then out, but that's not necessarily, you don't need to follow my breath. That's just me introducing you to it. Okay, so you start from the center, and then you breathe in. And then out. Now you can go over the same line, or you can create another circle around it, or another circle or a zero around it. That's me breathing in and then out. And breathing in. And then out. Now, as your circles get bigger, you may find that you don't complete them, which is absolutely fine as well. So what you do want to become mindful of now, once you've done it 3 or 4 times, is your hand moving before your breath? Because what you're doing is you're representing your own breath here. So the rhythm of your breath, the pace of your breath. And so if it helps, then close your eyes for the next sort of 2 or 3 drawings. And breathe in. Out. In. Out. And then what you might want to do, you might want to change direction as well. If you've been going anti-clockwise, then to go clockwise. And then as the circles, as the concentric circles, ovals get bigger, you may want to do 2 of your breaths with to make one big circle or oval. So notice whether or not your pencil is moving before your breath. This is it's a really strange concept to explain, but you want your breath to move your pencil or your pen. And then also notice how much pressure you're putting on your drawing instrument. Maybe, when you first start off, you're pressing quite hard, but by the time you're releasing your breath, you're not pressing as hard. I don't know if anyone else has found that. Okay. So, and then what we're then doing is choosing a shape, any type of shape that you love. I love ovals and zeros. And then choosing a gap between your concentric ovals or circles and beginning to fill them in to as much as you possibly want.
So
say that again.
So addictive, this part.
Yes, exactly. That's why I said it's something that we'll start, but we will not finish, and we may never finish, and you may never finish, which is just lovely. So and you can use the same colours, you can use a different colour, you can use a different marker. And I was saying earlier on as well that this is a really lovely way of being able to explore what your tools can do as well, you know, what sort of marks you can make with your tools. So you can use it as an experiment with that as well. And then as you go through the gaps, you can then change the symbol or the motif that you're doing as well. It just follow your intuition, you know, and it's never about completing something, and it's never about seeing how beautiful it looks.
So relaxing.
Yeah.
So relaxing. Hannah's using triangles, Marita's using different size circles, Patricia's using circles, Michelle's using circles and swirls. Rebecca started with ovals but looks more like fern leaves now. Paula's using hearts, Jill's using the figure 8, Adette's using triangles, Elizabeth using mini circles with gaps in between clusters.
Yeah. And how are you feeling? How are you all feeling?
How you're feeling? Yeah. Candace is using triangles. Alicia says, I love your voice, Daxa. It's so calming. I agree. That's when I met Daxa, I just felt, well, quickly tell you. So I went and met Daxa in her studio in Parmar, which is just beautiful. If you're ever there, you need to go and drop in. And I felt so relaxed because her artwork is relaxing. The space is beautiful and relaxing. And then Daxa spoke to me and I just poured out my whole life. Because I felt, you know, just so relaxed around her. So I know what you mean.
Thank you. It's taken me a long time to get used to my voice. And I used to talk about 2 times faster than this. So I've taught myself to talk slower as well. Yeah, let us know how you're feeling. A good way to gauge how you're feeling is how were you feeling before to how you're feeling now. Yeah.
I actually feel lighter. I feel in my shoulders because my head was spinning this morning. I had lots to think about, and my head feels, you know, that mental chatter. It's like it's turned off.
Yeah. Oh, my job is
everything. Yeah, it's feeling nice and relaxed. Yeah, wonderful.
Great. So now that you can see that you can dip in and out of this as well.
Yeah.
And for those that have just joined as well, this is something that you can put up somewhere, maybe in your wardrobe or your bathroom, or so that when you're feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit worried about the future in certain times, then just have a look at it. You don't even need to do anything to it, just have a look at it. And by association, you'll begin to feel a lot calmer and you'll remember drawing. In fact, what you could do is repeat it. As you're looking at it, is repeat the breath. So start from the center, you know, the first circle, and then go outwards. And because as you go outwards, your breathing gets deeper as well. Shall we do the next one? Are you ready to do the next one? This is an experimental one, so let's see. Yeah, so I'm just going to flip my paper over that way. Okay, and again, this isn't anything. This isn't about being precious about any materials. So what you want, hopefully, you've got some collaging papers, painted papers, magazines, crafting papers, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
yeah.
I'll just give you all a moment to come out. All my papers are in my studio. I didn't bring any collaging stuff, so I've just gone through some magazines and some bits and bobs. Any kind of paper. You can even use plain white paper if you want. It doesn't really matter. And so basically, we've got about three stages to this. Okay, the first stage is cutting and ripping. Okay, so I've basically got lots of greens here. I'm kind of feeling like I want to get some green in, so that's what I've got. So I'm just going to start cutting, just very randomly. and start tearing. Put some shapes. You don't want them if you're working on an A3 sheet of paper. You don't really want them any bigger than about 4 centimeters. If you're working on an A2 sheet, which is what I'm doing, I'm not going to go sort of any bigger than about 8 centimeters. Yeah. And again, whilst we're doing this, so make sure that you're kind of cutting into or ripping a variety of them. This is part of the exercise. This is part of the process. So try not to think about, oh, what we're going to do next. What am I going to do with them? Oh, that's nice. It's kind of, okay, I really want you to focus on your scissors and the mark that you're making and to follow what those scissors are doing and really connect with that cutting of the shape. And you'll find that once you just focus on that, you'll slow down. So all we're doing is focusing on how we're cutting and how we're ripping the papers. Okay. So when you hear that rip, when you're pulling it, really hear it, really listen to it, really watch it. Try and make a variety of shapes of different sizes. Oh, that sounded amazing. I'm going to make one like that. So satisfying.
It is.
How are you all doing? Are you focusing on your cutting? Not worrying too much about what we're going to be doing next? Let us know in the chat. So you want about probably about up to about 12 shapes. 12 pieces. If you were doing this entirely by yourself, I promise you, you will end up spending quite a bit of time cutting because you'll really get into cutting and ripping, and it'll almost be as if you're going in slow motion. Because it does become extremely therapeutic. Okay, right. So I've got approximately 12 shapes here. I don't know if you can see them all.
Yeah, well, hold up, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be 12, 10 to 12, that's fine. Okay. So once you're happy that you've got the collage shapes that you want, what I want you to do is I want you to gather them all up, not in any particular order.
Jo said she started with a headache, but she can feel it easing off. That's great.
absolutely fantastic. Okay, now what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to stand up. Okay. I'm going to put my. I'm going to do this first so that you can see what happens. So what I'm going to do is so you've got them, and you're just going to divide them between your hands, between both your hands, sorry. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of sprinkle them onto the page, really, from a height, okay? And that's the bit that you can't see. So my hands are approximately 1 meter high. If you can get even higher, then that's great. But you kind of want to try and contain them so that they land on your page. That's why I wanted you to work on a sheet that was A3 to A2, okay? And they're just gonna land in a random place, okay? So the higher up your hands are, the more likely they're going to spread out, okay? So after 3, we are going to drop them, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. Now what I want you to do is to get just a standard pencil. Sorry, I just need to move some of the stuff that's falling off the floor. If you've got a shape that's kind of half on and half off your page, which you probably have, then that's fine. Just leave it there and include it in, but don't move it into a convenient spot, okay? This randomness is really important. Okay, so has everyone got something that's landed on their page? Yeah? So what we're going to do now, just with a bit of graphite, a bit of pencil, is we're just going to draw around. Oh, actually, not going to need to draw. If your collage pieces haven't dropped directly on top of each other, then use your glue stick to glue them down. Sorry. If they have landed right on top of each other, then draw around them so that you can then remember where they are when you stick them back. Okay, so it just depends. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Yeah, I'm laughing because, you said not to touch them. But that's the first thing that I did because I wasn't happy with where they went, and I got my pencil and pushed one of them. So that's a good point that you make, is just let them just fall, and it's not about what they look like.
Absolutely. It is. It's a very strange thing to do. But we're leaving everything to chance here. I've got one on and I really like that one as well, and it's on my laptop, but I've got to leave it because it's not on the page. Okay, so this is all by chance. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stick them down, and if they've landed upside down as well, then you stick them that way as well. Don't turn them the right way around.
Upside down, you just leave them that way. Yeah.
You just leave them. So this nice bit of green is not showing, it's white. Okay.
Interesting.
So when you're sticking them down, don't place them in a different formation because you think it looks better. So just try and remember how it was.
This is great for perfectionists. Because, it's teaching you how to, not have that constant control, which is great. When you kind of want things to look a certain way and you're obsessed with that, this is a great exercise for releasing that sense of control.
Precisely.
I'm struggling with.
I bet you are.
I'm like in here, like, oh.
So look, I wanted that lovely greeny grass there. Okay, But I've ended up with, look at that beautiful face. I've ended up with about 2/3 of that beautiful face on here instead.
That's an interesting comment, that you wanted that, and that's interesting about this, is that it's forcing us to go with a different flow, because sometimes we see so much and we're in our own way. That this process actually opens your mind up to things that maybe you hadn't thought about.
Yeah, precisely. And also you've got to go with the flow. Do you see?
Yeah.
That just acceptance, just accept what's happened, which is a little bit related to what's going on here. Now, as you're sticking down, I want you to start connecting with, at the moment we're focusing on the collage pieces, but I want you to start focusing on the space, on the spaces in between. And I don't know about you, but I feel we're entering our 4th week of lockdown here in Spain.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks here for in the UK.
Yeah,
I think.
So
we're going into week 3.
Yes, you're going into week 3. This is our 4th week.
Right.
Now I'm already feeling, now that I have all of this space. I'm just going to pick mine up so that you can see it all. So that's mine. You can see the ones that have come off the edge. So I'll just fold them around for now. But there's a lot of space there. Yeah. So hopefully you've got something similar to that. Let's see yours, Michelle. Have you stuck all yours down?
Not yet, no. I'm nearly done.
I had to ask my daughter for glue, because I didn't have any. I didn't bring any glue with me when I put the studio away.
I had quite a lot of overlapping shapes, so I had to.
Yeah. So if you want them to be closer together, then you basically I love those colours.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very. There's a nice contrast between the cut and the rip there as well.
Mm. Yeah, that's
okay. So that's the second stage. So the third stage is the journey. Okay. So hopefully when you do this exercise by yourself, once you start cutting and once you start ripping, you don't have to limit yourself to cutting 12 pieces or ripping 12 pieces. Just cut until you feel that you don't want to anymore. But hopefully what you'll do is you'll get into the sensation of cutting and ripping, and you'll automatically start feeling calmer and start relaxing. That's stage 1. And then you're spending a little bit of time dropping the collage pieces, and then being really strict with yourself and not allowing yourself to move them, to leave them as they are, to accept where they have fallen, and even if they've fallen the wrong way round, upside down, whatever it is, you just accept the situation that is, and then stick them down. Okay, so now what I want you to take is, I want you to take an actual pen, not pencil. I want you to take some sort of you can take a colour, or a fine tip pen or a brush pen, whichever you want. I'm gonna I'm actually going to go for a black one. I don't really know why, but that's happened. Oh, and I've accidentally picked up a brush one. Well, that's interesting. I'm just going to go with that. And what I want you to do is I want you to start with one shape, okay? And I want you to draw around it, and then I want you to take to then draw a line in any way that you want, okay, to the next shape. And then I want you to draw around that shape. And then I want you to draw another line, but I want that line to be in a completely different mark to the line that you've just drawn previously, okay? So you could draw a straight line, you could draw a wiggly line, you could draw a dash line, you could draw a line with dots, you could draw a line that takes the long way round, yeah? But what we're doing is that we're connecting all of these collage pieces up with different types of lines until we come back to the first one, okay?
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Don't worry about what it looks like.
Yeah, okay. Tracy said, I started to cut and rip shapes for a picture. I couldn't let go to be free, but it's birds in the sky and hearts and it looks very peaceful. So I wonder whether Tracy should just have another go at doing it without the control until you get there. Just
exactly. This isn't, you know, these are some of the simplest things, but they're the most challenging things to do, you know. Yeah. And like you said, for perfectionists, it's about being able to let go.
But nice that you've ended up with something lovely, Tracy. Yeah. That makes you feel very peaceful. That's nice.
Okay, so should we give this a go then?
Yeah.
All right. So start with the piece. I'm absolutely drawn to this triangle here. Where is it? That one there. I'm going the wrong way. I'm absolutely drawn to this piece here. So I'm starting here, and I don't know which way I'm going to go after that, but I know I'm going to start here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Remember to vary your line when you get to your next piece.
I'm just smiling because Daxa, you're so calm and mine are also like and you can just see the difference between us. Like you're kind of like flowing and slow, and I'm like I obviously have a lot of energy to burn.
There you go.
Ah, I see. So that's really, I'm going to take some time to watch you now because that's lovely to watch.
And the reason why we're doing it with a marker, Michelle, is, why do you think?
So that you can't erase.
Exactly.
Tanya said my dog is barking at your dog.
Oh,
They're obviously chatting.
I think they're going out. We've got 2 water dogs. I think you met them, didn't you, Michelle? Were you here?
Did, yes, yeah, I did.
I have to go over that too. Oh, I know what I want to do. In fact, I'm going to carry it on.
Alicia's saying her marks are similar to mine.
It's really hard for me to do a zigzag line, so I'm going to do it. Because I generally don't like drawing spiky things. And I need to get to the end. Okay, that's my journey. I'm going to show you. Can you see it all?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just put mine up and then you can see how different they are.
I'm trying to look at yours a bit closer. Oh, right, I see what you mean with your lines all being kind of quite...
And they're quite tight and rigid, aren't they, around the shape?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So that's essentially the tool. But what you can then do after that is you could paint this. Something that's really nice is to actually do a little bit of writing along the lines. In terms of, you know, how you're feeling, or thinking about a journey, or anything. You can also do the drawing as well that we did earlier on in the first exercise, you know, filling in any kind of other spaces. But you will never ever create, you know, the same thing again when you do this exercise again. And it's a really great way of just, well, I hope it's a really great way of just sort of freeing you up if you're kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you can just sort of keep going with it as, you know, as much as you want. And you can cut it up, and then you can collage with this as well, you know, or create another type of piece of artwork with it. So yeah, this is what did I call it? Collage from A to B
and everywhere in between. Yeah,
everywhere in between. So hopefully you've seen that.
Wonderful, thank you so much. I feel so relaxed. I feel so relaxed. I feel like I can feel that space in my head, because I experience a lot of mental chatter in my mind. It's intense, so I feel like the dial's been turned right down. So thank you so much for joining us. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Send a big thank you to Daxa. If you would like to post your pictures, we would love to see them. So you can post them in the Virtual Art Studio group, or you can post them on Instagram, and that's where Daxa will see them. So I will put all the details in the comments after this live video where you can find Daxa. Obviously, we're United Art Space, so you can tag us on United Art Space. And there's an hashtag as well, which is UAS Art Relief. But I will put all of this in the comments after we've hung up. You can go and follow Daxa as well over on Instagram. She's got more tutorials that she's been doing weekly, so you can go and follow her over there. And thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yeah, thank you
so much. Thank you. I think everyone's enjoyed it, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, stay safe, stay connected, and stay creative, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye.